What's up, guys? We are back today. It has been a couple days because I spent a ton of time making that sick intro to this video. It might have been a waste of time, I don't know. But let me know in the comments what you think. Did you like my intro? And down the road, maybe I'd add music or something to it. But just let me know how it is now. Did you like the intro? Did you hate it? Do you think I wasted my time? Any comments on that would help. Um, Today, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through a design I have in mind. I want to make like a wall planter, just something simple, nothing crazy. But we'll take you through this whole design from start to finish, show you guys how I would do it, show you a few more of these things in Easel. And I think next week I will cut this on the machine. I'll show you guys the finished product. And maybe today I'll make up a couple different designs, or next week, whatever, I'll cut a couple different designs. And you guys can tell me which ones you like more, what's better, or if you just hate all my designs. So let's get right into it here in Easel. So let's start from scratch so you guys can see the whole thing. So if we come over to the left-hand side toolbar here, we come to shapes. I want to give myself a circle, and we're gonna make this a 7-inch diameter circle. So we're changing our height and our width to 7. And then let's just go edit center to material. I always like to work off the center of the material. It just makes everything easier. You can always, every object or shape that you create, you can put it to the center of the material, and it just helps line everything up. So we're going to start with this circle. I want to cut this circle all the way out. So instead of clearing out a pocket, let's come down to cut outside shape path. So now I'm only cutting on the outside of this shape, and we're going to cut all the way through our material. So that way we've got this complete circle cut out. It's asking me down here if I want to use tabs. So you can see there's these yellow tabs, 4 of them around the circle. That's just going to leave a little bit of material in there so that when you do cut it out completely, it's still held in there a little bit so it's not moving around on you. I personally like to use double-sided tape often, and that double-sided tape, in my experience, has always been strong enough to hold anything in that I cut out completely. So that's probably what I'll do this time. I'm not going to use tabs, so I'm going to get rid of that. And you can see we're just cutting out completely. So now what I want to do is I want to go edit, copy, edit, paste. So now I've got another circle identical to the one that I just did, but we're going to change some things here. So I'm going to change my cut to, let's just say, about 1 inch deep. I'm not going to go all the way through on this. And I'm also going to change it back to where we're clearing out a pocket rather than cutting out the outside. So now I've got a circle. It's the exact same size as the other one, but now I want to put it back in the other one. And actually, before I even do that, I want to make this a half circle. So I'm going to end up going back to 2 half circles so that it looks like a whole circle. But I want manipulation over the 2 halves of my circle. So I'm going to make this a half circle. And another thing here, guys, if you've watched my videos, you know I am far from the smartest person. Um, so there might be multiple ways to go about this. There might be better ways to go about this. Um, I'm just going to show you the way that I would do it. And if you don't know what you're doing at all, at least you've learned something. And again, somebody else down the road might find a better way of doing this. And if so, put it in the comments. That would be helpful and great to know. Even I, in my mind, know multiple ways that I could go about this. I'm just going to do it this way because I think it'll help show some useful aspects of Easel. So, anyways, multiple ways to do it. This is just how I'm going to do it. So we've got this whole circle. I want to turn it into a half circle. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab a square. Now, if you remember, our circle was a 7-inch diameter circle. Let's go ahead and let's make our square the same. 7 inches by 7 inches. Now, if I go back to my circle, in the shape tab on this upper left-hand corner, there's going to be, it looks kind of looks like a 5 on a dice. All this is doing is it's showing you where you're locating your piece off of the orientation of the piece. So like it's giving you the XY coordinates for that location. I want to know the XY coordinates of the center of this circle. So my Y, so if we come from this edge over here and we move to the right, that's moving in X. If we come to the bottom here and we move up, that's moving in Y. So I want to know from the bottom up to the center where the center line is for Y. And you can see we've got the center of our circle selected. It's telling me that the center is at Y 4 inches. So I want to put my square at that same Y, but I want to put this back edge at that Y. I don't want the center of my square at that Y. I want this back edge of my square at that Y. So we're going to go ahead and do that. It said it was at 4 inches. Now again, I've got to click up here because that's going to orient the back of my square to the 4 inches. Right now it shows it's at 3. I want it to be at 4, the same as my circle. And now I want to change my X. So let's go to the center of the square here. And it's showing me that X is at 15.688. I want the X of my square to be at the exact same 15.688. Boom. So now what I have is I have my square overlapping my circle. The back edge of my square is at the exact center line of the circle. And obviously my X is lined up perfectly. Now I'm going to change the cut of my square to nothing. So it's still there, it still exists, but we're not cutting any depth into it, right? Now, we have exactly what we want. You can see we have a half circle up there. Now, you guys might be saying, Adam, you don't have a half circle, you have a square and you have a circle. That's true, but watch what we're going to do here. If we hold down Shift and we click on the circle, now we have both the circle and the square selected. If we come to Edit and we come down to Combine, watch what happens. Boom. So we've combined those two items. The square we weren't cutting out at all. This we were. So the program knows to basically just get rid of the square and just give us our half circle, which is exactly what we have. Now let's center this to the material so we can line everything back up nice and easy. Boom, right there. We're in the center of the material, but you can see I want this on half of my circle at the top. I want this to be on the top half of this circle. Right now it looks a little goofy, right? How do we fix this? Well, once again, if we come to this back circle and we figure out where the Y is, the back Y, it's telling us that it's at 7.5. So that's this very back point of the circle is at 7.5. So if I do this and I select this one to be at that very same 7.5 back, boom, we're lined up exactly where we need to be. And we're off to a good start. So now what I want to do is I want to copy this. I want another half circle. So we're going to copy it. We're going to hit edit paste. And now I've got another one just like it. Now I want this to be on the bottom half of my circle. So a couple things we got to do here. We have to go into edit and flip it vertically. So that's going to give us a mirror image of what we have. But now you can see we're flipped the other way. And once again, we just have to do the same thing. Let's figure out where our lowest y point is on this back circle. It's showing us that it's at y 0.5. So same thing here. We're going to put this y at 0.5. And you can see now we're at the right height, but we do need to be in the center of the material. So if we go into Edit, Center of Material, now it's going to goof us up. It puts us in the exact center. So again, all we have to do is just change our y back to 0.5. So now we're perfectly lined up. We've got two half circles. So now I have manipulation over both of those separately, which is exactly what I wanted. And you'll see why later on down the road. So we're off to a good start here. Now, let's go ahead and copy what we have one more time, paste it one more time. And now with this, I need it to be a little bit smaller. It's going to go ahead and it's going to fit right into this bottom one, but it needs to be smaller. So let's make it about an inch smaller here on our width. So we're about 6 inches wide, and our height needs to be half of that, 3 inches wide. So our height is, we only have half a circle. So half of a circle, well, basically our height should be exactly half of our width for it to look like a proper circle. Because again, if the full circle is 6 inches, half of it's only going to be half of 6, which is 3. So one more time, let's go Edit, Center to Material, and let's put our y at 0.5 for right now, but we might have to make an adjustment there. So right now we're all the way at the bottom, just like that one is. And actually we will make adjustments, and I'll do that better. But first things first, this lower one isn't going to get cut at all. So let's change the cut on this to nothing. Okay. And now what I actually want is I want to figure out where the Y is for this back edge. So this half circle that we're not cutting out at all, that straight line, that half of it, I want to know where that back Y is right there. So once again, if I come to the back edge, it's telling me that Y is at 4.028. So if I click on this one, I need my Y at that exact same 4.028. All right, perfect. So now you guys can see on the model here kind of what we've got going on. So if you can see on this lower half, down in this area is where dirt and all the plant's roots are going to be. And then up here is where the actual plant will be growing up out. This is going to be a pretty small planter. It's only right now an inch thick, so there's only going to be an inch worth of dirt, but it's going to go, fairly deep. It's a 7-inch diameter circle, so there should be plenty of dirt in there for those standard house plants that don't take a lot of effort, that don't need a ton of nutrients or anything, that they just grow and grow and grow. There's going to be plenty of dirt in there for those types of plants. So all we have to do now is take this and copy that one more time. Edit, copy, edit, paste. All right, so you're probably saying, Adam, how is dirt? Oh, sorry, let's not do that. Edit, undo. So you're probably saying, Adam, how is dirt going to stay in? It's all the dirt's just going to fall out the front face of this. That's what it looks like, yes. But the design here, we would have to cut a separate piece out that's this shape, this exact size and shape, and that's going to be a front cover, basically, that will probably, nail it in or screw it in or whatever from the backside so that you can't see it. But this is just going to be a cover. This will be cut separately at a separate time. But this is going to be just a cover that we eventually screw on here, and maybe it'll be like a 1/4 inch thick, or it doesn't need to be real thick. A 1/4 inch is probably plenty thick enough to be strong enough to hold up over time. So that's kind of what my idea is there. Now again, the back side of this, like if this right here was the back side, that whole thing we will coat in epoxy resin so that moisture is not getting into there. And then again, all in here, around this radius, all this will be covered in epoxy resin. We're not going to do it up here because that's where the plant is just going to grow. But all in down here, we'll coat all of that with epoxy resin because again, I'm not going to be using a type of wood that holds up well to moisture. I'm just going to use whatever I have laying around, and whatever it happens to be can just get coated in epoxy resin, and that should help us avoid any issues from moisture. So now you're probably asking, why in the world did we do this in two separate circles? What was the point of that? Again, I told you it was because I wanted manipulation separately over the two halves, and I'm going to show you why right now. So if we've got this upper one selected, I'm going to come over to the left-hand side toolbar. We're going to come down to apps. If we click on that, we'll go into generators, down to this texture, and let's pick the texture. I'm going to go with Aztec. I like this design. I think it's cool. Um, so we'll just keep it exactly how it is right there, and we'll import that. And what I don't like is that when you do this, so see now it has changed the depth of the circle that I had in the back. I don't know why it does that. I don't like it. But nonetheless, we can fix that here quick. So if I select just that back circle, which I have selected now, you can see it made it a cut of 0. That's not what we wanted. We had it at 1 inch. So we'll put it back to 1 inch. And then as far as our design that we're cutting into it, let's make that 1.03. So we're only 0.03 deeper than that back face. And right now, if you come over here, you can see the bit that I have selected. I only have a 1/4 inch bit selected right now. So you can't see this pattern show up because a 1/4 inch is not going to cut that pattern into your part, right? You need an angled V bit to cut that type of pattern. So if we just quickly add a bit, so we hit the plus sign, it's already going to add a 90-degree V bit for us, which is what we want. So now you can see on the design what that pattern would actually look like. Now, obviously all the rest of the pattern looks, or the rest of the design looks goofy because now we're cutting everything, we're finishing everything with a 90-degree V bit. So it's going to look silly. That's not obviously what the finished product would look like. But you can see, so that back top half, again, the dirt, the roots, everything of the plant is going to be down in this lower half. And up above here is where all the green leafy foliage is going to be growing. So foliage, it's a hard word to say. So we've got our design on that back half. So again, the plants at some point are going to grow up and in front of it, and that pattern that we carve into there is, might be gone completely. There might be enough greenery that we lose that pattern. It doesn't matter. That's not a big deal. It's just an extra little touch, and it's going to look nice when the plants are small. It's going to be something beautiful that you can hang on the wall, and people aren't going to walk in and be like, what is that? Right? At least it'll have a nice little pattern, a nice little design on it for the time being. So once again, let's zoom out here on our design. So again, this is just going to be a cover. We're going to slap that over. It'll be cut separately, but that'll get slapped on, either glued, screwed, nailed, whatever it might be. That'll go right on the top. And you could also maybe cut a pattern or some type of design into the cover, so and then the greenery isn't going to cover it. That design will always be on there, and it'll be obviously a main focus point of the entire design at that point. That's not exactly what I want, so I'm probably not going to do that, but again, that's an option. So now you might be asking, how would I go about this so that it doesn't look goofy all the time? So obviously, we have it finishing with a 90-degree bit. It makes our design look really goofy. That is what it would look like if you cut it like that. So we're gonna have to do this in separate steps. So the way I would go about this is, let's just get rid of the 90-degree V-bit right now. Let's just get rid of our pattern right now. And let's get rid of this. Again, all this is a cover. This will be cut out completely. It'll maybe be a 1/4 inch thick overall. Again, it's just a cover to go over to hold in all the dirt of where the roots will be growing. So hopefully that's understandable to everybody. I'm just going to delete that. So with a 1/4 inch bit, this is the program I would run right here. I would run this entire program with the 1/4 inch bit. And then once that's done, I'm going to go on to step 2. Step 2, we're going to have to switch out our bit to a 90-degree V-bit. And then on step 2, what I would do, so first I have to get my pattern back here. All right, so I've got my pattern back. You can see it right there. Let's go ahead and just delete this again. We don't need that. But we've got our pattern back in here. So what I would do is I would leave that pattern and I would delete everything else. We want the pattern. Let's see if we can get, there we go. So we've got the half circle in the back. Let's delete that. So now all I have is my pattern. It's in the exact spot that it needs to be. That if I ran that program first with the 1/4 inch bit, I did all that work. Everything's going to be there, ready, cut. And I'm just going to swap out my bit. Now I've got the 90-degree V-bit in. Now this is my second step of the program. All I do is I carve that pattern into that top circle, and then we're done. Obviously, separately in another program, we're going to cut out that cover. We're going to slap that cover on, but that's it. So this is going to be, once again, a planter. It's going to be circular. We'll have the pattern carved into the top half of the circle. The bottom half of the circle, it's going to jut out a little bit, about an inch or so. We'll have a cover that goes over it. We'll fill it with dirt, and hopefully it'll turn into what is a pretty cool and nice little planter. So that is my idea. That's my design. Again, I'll cut this next week and I'll show you the finished product. But let's try maybe doing another design here quick. So let's try with a triangle. And we'll just manipulate this here. It's too pointy. I want something wider, maybe like that. A little bit bigger. And let's go into edit and flip this horizontally. Or I'm sorry, vertically. Because we want it like this instead. And again, I'm thinking this is going to be a different type of planter. It's just going to be a different shape, a different style. So all we would need to do here is go edit, copy, edit, paste. So we've got another one just like it. We don't need to worry about the numbers too much on this design. Let's just shrink this one a little bit. And we'll actually make the cut of this one nothing. And then we can leave it just like that. So then let's just put this one over top of this one. And once again, this is going to be the area that we're going to be cutting out. This would be filled with dirt. Let's just center these so we can line everything up nice. Let's center it to the material. Let's take this one, center it to material. That way we're nice and lined up. Now with my arrow keys, I'm just going to move this up to the top so that it can be, once again, we're going to cut this out Let's take this back triangle here. Let's go edit, copy, edit, paste. So this triangle version is actually quite a bit easier. Zoom out a little bit here. So once again, this is going to be your cover. This would be a cover that would just go over. It's going to hold in all the dirt, everything. And this is just going to be cut out. This is going to be a pocket that's cut out. And here's where all the dirt would go. And again, this can be any width. Depends on the material that you're working with. It depends how much dirt you want to fill that with. Up to you. So maybe on this one, we don't have a back. And again, you could make this a diamond, right? This could have a back, on the circle where I had that back half that would be engraved. You could do the same thing here. This could be diamond shaped. The back half could be engraved. For this one, I think I'm just going to leave it a triangle, not make it a diamond. And maybe we would engrave something on the cover of this. So we've got this selected. If we come down to apps again, we go to generator, texture generator, and again, let's pick autumn. I like this design too. Import. So now we've got that nice texture on there. Let's add a 90-degree bit just so we can see what that looks like on our model. So if we come over here, let's select all of this. Let's move it over here just so we can, just so it shows up a little more. Let's flip it vertically. Okay. So you can see that would just be the cover. Once again, it would just go right over top, get glued on, screwed on, nailed, however we want to do it, probably from the back if we're going to nail it, or screw it so that those nails or screws are not showing. But again, it's just a cover, and it's got a nice little pattern. Again, I flipped it vertically, which makes it more difficult to see what I mean, but this is just a cover. Just going to go right over top of this. That's going to seal in all the dirt and everything, so that a plant can actually grow in here. And once again, we'll coat all the walls. Anywhere where water is going to be touching, it'll be coated in epoxy resin so that we're avoiding any issues with moisture or anything like that. So the triangle one you can see was a lot easier, a lot quicker. But that's just two examples. Again, the beauty of CNC is that the possibilities are endless. You can do anything that you want. You can do any shape, any design. So be creative if you guys are going to make something similar. Let's just show one more thing that we could do instead of that texture generator. So I've got this back triangle selected. I'm going to edit, copy, and paste again. Edit, copy, paste. All right, so again, this is going to be our cover. But instead of doing the texture generator, let's just add an image. So we'll just go down to, let's say, nature. Maybe we can find a flower or something that we could carve into it. Sure, we'll pick this one right here. Fill. And we can just place this onto our cover. Obviously, we'd want to center everything up, make sure it's nice and even, but that looks pretty good already right there. And you can see, I'll try to bring this, let's move this first. Let's get this out of the way. Let's bring this over just so we can see what it's going to look like. All right, so you can see there, this would be our cover. It's got a nice little flower on it. Again, that's just a cover to hold in all the dirt on what will be a planter. So there you go, guys. It's a couple examples of a wall hanging planter. Um, Again, you would have to come up with a design for how it actually hangs on the wall. Maybe I'll just drill a couple holes in the back, or whatever it might be, multiple ways to do it. That's up to you. Again, the design entirely is up to you. If you want to copy exactly what I did here today, that's fine. Do that. Get a little courage, or just get the skills that you need to go about in the future doing your own design, that's fine. I don't care if you guys copy my designs. It's 100% okay. Um, but again, the beauty of CNC is that you can do anything, you can create anything. So be creative. Also, I'd love to see your guys' designs. If you guys are doing this stuff too, don't be afraid to reach out, get in touch. I'd love to see your guys' designs. I'd like to see what you guys come up with. Um, and again, next week, I'm going to cut a couple of these designs out. I'll show you the finished product, and you guys can let me know which ones you like more. So I think that's all for today. Hopefully, something in here was helpful to you. Again, follow along, stay in touch, and please like and subscribe and comment on my videos. I love comments. I love responding. I like seeing what people think. Again, let me know how you felt about my intro. Did I waste time? Was it worth it? And yeah, stay in touch. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to cut these out, show you the final product, and hopefully you guys will like both, but you might hate both. And let me know. Thank you, guys.